Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Monday night, July the 29th. Lovely to have you guys in for another episode of the Prime Time program. Training camp battles are very much ongoing. They will be back out on the practice field tomorrow. Roger McCreary is, in fact, going to sit down with us at the broadcast setup, and we'll talk to the Titans corner about everything that's going on in his room so far this year. But as we discuss battles and positional jockeying and all these different things across the roster, quarterback is worth paying attention to. And Malik Willis has made it worth paying attention to based on his performance. There's a lot of things to like about what you're seeing at Titans practice right now. For those of you who haven't gotten the opportunity to go to a Titans practice, or maybe haven't been able to see some of the stuff or read some of the stuff that's been going on there, Mason Rudolph came in here, got a decent amount of money to come in here and definitively be the backup quarterback. And he may well end up being the backup quarterback by the time the season starts and be the backup quarterback, the primary backup quarterback for the vast majority of the season. That is the expectation right now, but we're only getting ready to start week 2 of training camp. So you can't close the book on anything just yet, especially before they've even played preseason games. So the Malik conversation is worth talking about. Matt Bailey says he's not going to beat out Rudolph. Come on, Buck. Did you not just hear what I said, Matt? Pay attention, or I'll talk more slowly for you. He doesn't have to beat out Mason Rudolph for this to be a successful endeavor. Keep calm, keep your patience, and we will work our way through this discussion without you jumping to conclusions about things that I did not say. So with this specific player, it was always going to be a slow burn, right? He was never expected to come in and be NFL ready when they drafted him in the third round of 2022. In a poor quarterback class, which was the 2022 draft class, including Kenny Pickett in the first round, Desmond Ridder in the third round, and then Malik later on, he was the most physically talented of the group. And when the Titans landed him with their second third-round pick that year, because NPF was their first third-round pick, and then they had the second third-round pick, you looked at it like, all right, gravy. If he works out, great. They have a cost-effective and interesting option beyond Ryan Tannehill prior to Will Levis being drafted. And if he doesn't, well, it's not the end of the world. A third-round pick on a quarterback is not wasted draft capital. It's just you trying something with potential that may or may not work out. It's a flyer, and that's all it really has to be. I think people put a lot more pressure on Malik than they needed to, and also I think the circumstance put a lot more pressure on Malik Willis than was necessary. It ended up being necessary because they didn't have another quarterback option to play when Ryan Tannehill dealt with injury. They had to go out and sign Josh Dobbs to try and keep their season alive, even though they did not successfully do so, missing out on the postseason in the final game of the year. The point is that Malik was never supposed to be one of these plug-and-play replacement level starting/backup quarterbacks. It was always going to take, one, time, and two, a coaching staff that knew what they were doing with him. And I'm not going to say that Mike Vrabel's coaching staff didn't know what they were doing with Malik Willis. What I know is that their background, their specificity, or their area of expertise was not quarterback play. You know whose area of expertise quarterback play is? Your new Titans head coach, who has been a career quarterback and career quarterback coach leading up to this moment after being an offensive coordinator and a play caller, or, you know, a play caller in some form or fashion in conjunction with Zach Taylor, whose area of expertise is specifically the most important position. Does that mean that he's going to be a better head coach than Mike Vrabel? I have no idea, right? But I do know that it is fair to assess this staff, including Brian Callahan, Nick Holtz is the OC, Bo Hardigree is the quarterback's coach. They know quarterback play, and they're going to be able to help all three players elevate their game in a way that Mike Vrabel was not going to be able to do. Why? Because he never played quarterback, never coached quarterbacks specifically, and that's okay. So I think when you make this move, there's a variety of different reasons. Matt Bailey says he's proved he's not an NFL quarterback. Sorry, that's where I'm at on it. I mean, you don't have to apologize. I don't give a shit what your opinions, you know, you can have whatever opinion you like. And I would agree with you. Based on the sample size of him playing, he has not been an NFL quarterback, but he's not proven anything definitively. Any kind of definitive statement about any NFL player, to a certain point, I think is silly. Is his career over? Hell no, his career's not over. He plays the most valuable position in professional sports, and he's one of the most talented players, physically talented players. Despite not being a first-round pick, he's going to get opportunities. So that doesn't mean that he has proven anything definitively. Through the first 2 years, he has proven to be insufficient for this team. But what happened from his rookie training camp to his second training camp? He got better. What's happening from his second training camp to his third training camp underneath Brian Callahan and a quarterback-specific staff? He's improving. So he's making the kind of progress that he was always supposed to make. It's just that they needed him to play sooner than he should have played. And that's kind of derailed what progress he might have been actually able to make. So again, nothing is definitive in the NFL until it is definitive. And Malik Willis, heading into year 3, the book is not written on this player's career, even though you come into this camp with preconceived notions about him. And I don't fault people for that, but I do think that it's short-sighted, which is why we're going to talk about him here tonight and the idea of keeping 3 quarterbacks. So let's talk with your Two Rivers Ford take on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section. What percentage chance do you give the Titans of keeping 3 quarterbacks on the initial, there's no such thing as a final 53 until the season ends, whenever your season ends, and that's your final roster when your season ends. But on the initial 53-man roster, what percentage chance do you give the Titans of keeping 3 quarterbacks? We'll discuss at length together. It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it's presented by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer. Quality American-made Ford vehicles, award-winning customer service is what they offer you. Go to Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet or online at tworiversford.com for more information about how they can make the car buying process for you faster, easier, and more fun. That's tworiversford.com. So the question becomes, what percentage chance do you give the Titans of keeping 3 quarterbacks on the initial roster? Eric says, Buck spitting straight facts about this particular situation. Amar says 100%. He believes that there's a 100% chance that the Titans keep 3 quarterbacks. I wouldn't go to that extreme. I would leave myself a little bit of wiggle room. 65% from, like I said on YouTube. Curtis C goes 45. He's less optimistic about the situation. Vanessa on Facebook, a percentage of 90, as does Byron Charles on Facebook Live. So Brian Callahan was asked about Malik Willis. Well, in fact, let's show you a couple of Malik Willis throws from the 7-on-7 period. It wasn't team, but the 7-on-7 period of Malik Willis practicing footwork, accuracy, and timing with a quarterback-specific staff that has clearly helped him in all 3 of those areas.
Good ball. Good ball. Back shoulder. Thank you. One thing that jumps out to Coach Mack and me so far is just what we've been able to do.
That is courtesy of Sean McAvoy, one of Malik Willis's quarterbacks coaches who works with him in the offseason, who was at practice and whose film crew was taking film of Malik from the practice so that they can continue to work with him, continue to improve what he's doing. You saw some 7-on-7. You saw some teamwork there. And there is a little bit of a rush in his face. It's not fully padded, right? So there are qualifiers that go into this. It's not a live NFL rep. But this is something that he is improving on, that he is making throws with, again, better timing, better anticipation, better accuracy. And it's incremental improvement for a player that requires incremental improvement. So he is in this interesting spot where he's clearly got something. They like the player, it seems. And you'll hear from Brian Callahan on that here in just a second. But they have roster math decisions to make, and they have to decide whether Malik Willis on an initial 53-man roster is more important than the sixth or seventh wide receiver or the fourth or fifth off-ball linebacker. Positionally, you would say that there is a higher level of importance on a team keeping three quarterbacks when now you have the emergency quarterback rule at your disposal, and you no longer have to have, if I remember the rule correctly, you no longer have to have that 53rd player on the active roster for game day. It sounds like they can be practice squad call-ups based on the differences in the rules. Matt says, shouldn't we be talking about Levis? Yeah, we've got 6 months to talk about Will Levis. It's training camp. They're position battles. That's why we're talking about other players on the roster. Matt, I don't know what you're so butthurt about this evening with the Malik Willis discussion. It's 2 weeks into training camp. Your regular season hasn't started. I did a whole damn Will Levis show yesterday, and there are other position battles that are going to play themselves out. I am very perplexed by how that concept is so foreign, but it's okay. We're going to proceed on that way. With everything that the Titans have going on, that is one of the more interesting decisions that they have to make. And it is viable because Mason Rudolph is not some schlub. Mason Rudolph has started critical games. For people like Matt who don't understand this, the backup quarterback has never been more important in the NFL. And we're not going to be talking about the backup quarterback come the regular season unless something happens to Will Levis. It is important to know, to see, and to discuss and to document the progress that all of the backup quarterbacks are making, because you have to have the most viable option. In week 15, if Will Levis is unavailable and one of these quarterbacks has to play the Cincinnati Bengals at home, or one of these critical AFC South games where they have 5 of the 6 AFC South games are from week 12 on. It is entirely possible that a league where 66 quarterbacks started NFL games last year and the year prior, that one of these two backups is going to play. And when they do, are you going to sit there, shrug your shoulders and say, I don't know, screw it, we'll find out what happens? No, you're going to want to know whether this player has made sufficient progress, why they may or may not have decided to keep him on the roster, and when the hell else are we going to do it but July 29th? So I think it's a pretty ridiculous statement to be dismissing depth conversations when there is nothing more important than the depth of a roster that you're trying to figure out at training camp time. So as we discuss Malik Willis in particular, what percentage chance do you give the Titans of keeping 3 quarterbacks on the initial 53-man roster? I would probably go, I'll say 45%. 45%. I don't know that it's straight up a 50-50 coin toss right now. And I don't necessarily know how much better or how much worse Malik Willis is going to look once we get into preseason games, live reps, joint camp with the Seattle Seahawks. He struggled in the preseason in the last couple of years. We'll see how definitive that growth has been. But in the absence of preseason games and with joint training camp practices still several weeks away, when he has moments that are worth discussing, or any of them have moments that are worth discussing, the same way that we do for any position on the depth chart, right? Running back 3 this year, wide receiver 4, cornerback 4, especially where L'Jarius Sneed and Chidobe Awuzie are unavailable at certain points. Awuzie for the next couple of weeks dealing with a calf injury. L'Jarius Sneed on his management program. Who's playing for your roster right now? It's the 3rd and 4th corner, which is why these depth conversations are important. So I think you need to understand that this has to be a well-rounded discussion specifically around him because it's the most important position and they have options at their disposal. A to Z Sports Primetime is presented by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Go to GaryAshton.com. Get your dream address without the stress. Get the intel edge you need to succeed at GaryAshton.com, the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. So it's one thing to hear me talk about it. It's another thing to hear your former quarterbacks coach, former offensive coordinator, now turned Titans head coach, Brian Callahan, speak about the progress that Malik Willis has made.
Yeah, really pleased with Malik. I think both those quarterbacks have really done a nice job, and Malik came out and had a nice day with some aggressive throws. He's really done a nice job knowing what to do, where to go with the football, and really pleased with how he played today. It was a good day for Malik.
So that was Brian Callahan at the end of his press conferencing discussing Malik Willis and his progress. It is something that, we're not going to track his completions every day in 7-on-7 or in team drill the way that we are with Levis. It is not as important as discussing Levis. I'm absolutely in agreement with that. But there is a lot to notice about how much better he is. For example, I was standing on the sideline watching the quarterback individual drills on Saturday when I was at Nissan Stadium. And I'm standing there. I think Ben Arthur is to my left and Corey Curtis and Steve Lehman are to my right. And I can't remember who I leaned over and said something to, watching the quarterbacks directly in front of me, watching Mason. Will was on the microphone with Coach Mack and Mike Keith, welcoming Titans fans, doing the whole thing because they were live broadcasting and having players coming over for interviews and stuff like that throughout the course of practice. So Will wasn't participating in the individual drills at that particular point in time. So I watched Mason Rudolph do this footwork drill where they've got the bags, right? They've got the bags lined up, I think 4 or 5 of them in a horizontal row, right? And the point of the quarterback, or the goal of the quarterback, is to work with proper footwork and a proper base, as if he's manipulating the pocket, right? So you go forward through a pair of bags and then you work backward through another set of bags. And you do that in as concise and as efficient as you can with your proper mechanics, with your proper footwork, trying to get the best possible base. And again, I'm not a quarterback's coach, so I'm inferring all this based on what I'm seeing, not based on what Bo Hardigree is telling me about that. But I'm watching Mason Rudolph go through it, who I know to be a viable replacement level starting NFL quarterback, backup NFL quarterback. And then I watch Malik. And used to be, there was definitive differences between Tannehill, Levis, and Malik Willis's footwork, where it was a little looser, a little less, like I said, efficient with his movements. And there is a noticeable difference in the way that person moves and the way that person gets himself set, operates out of a throwing base. And what's going to happen if he gets a better base and gets better footwork? He's going to be a more accurate player. Now, does that help him read defenses? No. Does that help him adjust and counter things at the line of scrimmage where you see a blitz that needs to be picked up, or identify something in the defense that needs to be accounted for, or reset a protection based on what the defense is presenting you? No, but that is what the joint camp work is for. That is what their team drills are for. And it sounds like he's making progress that way. What it will actually amount to, we'll have to wait several weeks to find out. But it is the first time that you guys have been able to see a lot of this stuff. And Malik was a lot of your guys' biggest takeaways because he was one of the better performers on Saturday's practice at this point. So let's move on and let's talk about the most interesting roster battles up and down the Titans roster. Since we're talking depth here on this Monday night, let me know in the comment section on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch how you feel about the most interesting roster battles up and down this Titans depth chart. We'll get into it together right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no danger first wager. Baseball going right now, football not too far away. We are getting closer and closer to the college football season. You've got the Olympics going on right now, of course. You can get all your bets in where betting just got better. Zen Sports, promo code ATOZTN. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions do apply. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet at Zen Sports. All right. Where is the most interesting position battles up and down the roster? LAC says, Buck finally letting that facial hair grow back. Don't worry, I'm going to shave tomorrow morning. I don't like the beard. It's itchy right now. And, it takes me 5 seconds to grow a beard. I'm Arab. That's how it works. I just forgot to shave today. QB Battle says, Curator was not on my bingo board. Randy Howard says, middle linebacker, though I think Murray has earned the start as of right now. Well, whether he's earned it or not, he's going to be a starting player. And you would like to see him earn it, right? You would like to see him make that kind of progress. And he had a nice Saturday as well. It's worth noting. Kenneth Murray and Jack Gibbons right now running as your starting off-ball linebackers in your base defense But what I ultimately see is a lot of depth competition that's interesting across the board. David Lee says, of course, it's safety, Molden versus everyone else. Yes, I don't disagree with that, David. But I almost feel like we're still kind of in wait and see mode with the safety position, because I maintain that they're going to add another body to that position group. Jamal Adams, by the way, running with certain situational packages in the Titans defense. So it's clear that they have that ironed out, or that they think they have that ironed out. Whether that's actually applicable or not, we will see as preseason games become available. B-Friend says, is it really just 12 days until the Titans' first preseason game? Yeah, that sounds about right. When the Niners come to town, it's going to be a lot of fun. 2 home games in the preseason at Nissan Stadium, and then we will go to New Orleans for the final exhibition game of the preseason. Wide receiver 4 says both Chris Frazier and Vernon Sanford talking about the most interesting position battles across the board. I do think that there is a competition, or that there is a viable competition around this wide receiver 4 spot. And somebody that I did talk to, and I want to make sure that I've got this video edited properly, because it did not look correct when last I pulled it up on my phone. But I did talk to Treylon Burks on Saturday for a couple of minutes. We talked about his conditioning. We talked about how he's physically transformed himself. Rand Carthon made comments to that effect, discussing how using the word transformation with Treylon. It's clear and obvious that he's a physically different player. Now, will that keep him healthier in the regular season? I have no idea. Will that make him more consistent in the regular season? I have no idea. All I know is that Treylon Burks is operating from a space where he has a lot less pressure on him, a lot less scrutiny on him. And sometimes, while you want players who respond well to pressure and who live up to the moment, especially as a first-round pick, especially the first-round pick that was, in theory, supposed to replace A.J. Brown, it can be a good thing for him to be able to operate from the shadows, for lack of a better term, for him to continue to work in not off to the side, but to just put his head down, do work, and to not be paid additional attention to, not be the subject of, oh, will the first round pick pan out or not? No, you've got Ridley, you've got Hopkins, you've got Boyd. Okay, I'm wide receiver 4 at best in this scenario. Let me get better. Let me improve my craft. Let me specialize in what it is that they use me for, because they're probably going to play a pretty tight wide receiver rotation with this group. And let me find ways that I can contribute to the football team. This was Treylon Burks. How was it to get back out in front of the fans and see the crowd and the energy today?
It was fun. Just love getting out there playing football, man. I'm glad to be back with the teammates, and just go out each and every day from now on and have fun.
For you, how much different do you feel physically, and what was kind of the approach in the last couple of weeks for you to kind of get ready for this?
Honestly, focus on myself, man. I just sat back, worked out, trained, ran, and just wanted to change my body and just see how I felt if I dropped a little more than 5 pounds than I'm used to dropping, and actually I feel tremendously better.
So you've seen the dividends from that already?
100%.
With all the changes off season, was it tough to focus on yourself, or was it kind of easy to keep that perspective?
No, it wasn't tough at all. I got God on my side, so I just give him everything and feel that myself.
How have you felt about the energy and the installation as you guys kind of ramp this thing up?
I say it's been fun, man. Even though we've learned it once, just going back over and learning it again, and just getting it embedded in our brains, it's fun, and just go out there with the guys that's in our room and have fun each and every day and get each other better.
Collectively, how high is the confidence level about this offense right now?
I'd say it's pretty high. All of us in that room, we hold ourselves accountable. We talk each other up, but we also correct each other when we do something wrong. So just keep getting better and better.
Appreciate it, Joe. So that's Treylon Burks after Saturday's practice, speaking on his roster spot, speaking on his conditioning, and it sounds like he's made pretty good progress. So with that, I'm most interested in the way that the wide receiver competition plays out, because, it's between wide receiver and corner, honestly. That wide receiver 4, that corner 4 spot, with Caleb Farley, with Treylon Burks. Seems like one is more of a lock than the other. Caleb Farley is going to be fascinating to see how that plays out and whether there is, in fact, a roster spot for the former first-round pick, at least one of the former first-round picks that they have currently trying to earn it. All right, that is going to allow us to move on to, in case you missed it, Bert is back from his trip home to Winston-Salem. He is red, he is shirtless, and he is prepared to bring you the news. We will do so here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is presented by the wonderful people at True Math Fitness in the Gulch. Your first workout is free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. Go to TrueMathFitness.com today to sign up for group fitness classes, personal training, or one of their awesome membership programs that allows you to work out in their top-notch facility, conveniently located in downtown Nashville in the Gulch as you please. TrueMathFitness.com for that first workout free. All right, Bert, get in here. What do you got?
No.
Too bad. Do it.
Okay. I'm an idiot.
What, are you not ready?
No, I thought somebody deleted our two show. That's my fault. I'm an idiot. Back in the home setup. More importantly, back on the recruiting trail.
Oh, yeah.
For East Carolina. Had to hit that hard with a Week 5 game against NC State. Working on some recruits, getting a halfback, quarterback, just filling out the ranks. Stuff that recruiters do, thinking about taking up dipping. Have you ever dipped in your life?
No.
Never?
Nope.
Never a little chaw?
Nope.
Chew?
That always has seemed so disgusting to me. I've never understood why people do that.
Yeah, I only did it once. It was doing laundry freshman year when you all had to use the same rooms, and my roommate had one in. He's like, "Oh, try it." We were going to be in there for forever because we had so much laundry to do.
Vanessa says she has tried dip. So
wow!
Got one over on me.
Actually, I'll tell you another story about that. We'll just get into redneck haven. How about that? So the first time I did dip, I sat on a dryer that was shaking, and it made my belly have that like feeling. And
Did they do to you what they do to the new sorority girl recruits, where they make you sit on the dryer while it's shaking, and they circle all the parts that jiggle in Sharpie? Do they still do that? Is that still permissible in college, or is that too much hazing? I don't know. That's pretty mean.
I could save them a lot of Sharpie. They wouldn't. How about you just circle the things that don't jiggle, and it'll save a whole lot of speed. No, I didn't know where that was going. I was like, oh, this sorority hazing sounds awesome, and then it was about body shaming, so I was out. My buddy used to date a girl who dipped, and she was on the softball team, and we thought she was so cool because she drove a Mustang. Turns out she was a very nice person. There was nothing wrong with her at all. Because I'm not going to put my foot in my mouth. The Olympics are going on. Lots of things going on in the Olympics. The U.S. won in. Did you see Chase Buttinger, former NBA superstar?
The way that you just got so scared of making a Will and Grace comment is hilarious to me. Hilarious to me.
I didn't say anything about that. Diving.
Fear in your eyes.
Diving has taken over the internet. Everyone's saying, "Oh my gosh, the Olympics are the best!" Except for this wasn't in the Olympics, you idiots.
15 Southeast Asian Games are taking place right now in Singapore, and right now the Philippine diving team, they're having a rough go at it to start.
Wham! That was from like 2015. Woo! I've seen so many people that be like, "I love the Olympics. Why could this guy jump? It wasn't at the Olympics." No. You idiots.
15 Southeast Asian Games are taking place right now in Singapore, and right now the Philippine diving team, they're having a rough go at it to start off with. Everything got started with
having a rough go, start off with.
It is hilarious, and it is a testament to how little people actually listen or watch or read clips or articles that they see on Twitter, as opposed to just quote tweeting it after watching a video with no sound. She literally says the 2015 Southeast Asian Games. Like, what? The level of stupidity on the internet never ceases to amaze me, which is why we love you. It's okay.
Yeah. Please keep doing that stuff.
Oh yeah.
What's the saying? Survival of the fittest. Let all the dumb people die first. Love that. We have too many safety nets for dumb people now. We should take the railing off of stairs. Take away the glass dividers. Take away the safety things that.
No, because then you're just trying to kill old people as much as you are trying to kill stupid people.
I have no problem saying that, Buck. I think there are way too many old people. Once you turn 75, you have to take a test every month to keep your driver's license.
My parents, not my parents, my mom more specifically is always on me because she wants grandkids, and I have zero interest in children. I couldn't be less interested in the idea of kids. Not just because I'm a selfish person, and I would be a terrible father because I would value myself more than I value the children, and you cannot do that in a functioning adult society. So instead, I choose not to have kids. And the other part of it is, why the hell does the world need more people? I'm already sick of everybody running around out here. I am pro less population. I was so down with 6 to 10 feet during the pandemic. Keep away from me. Don't bother me. I like my space. Nature started to come back a little bit. You see more birds. You see more Bambi. You see all kinds of good stuff. Less people seems to equal good things. So I'm pro less people.
Well, I just thought of $1 million idea. I'm going to let you in on the ground floor. Me, you, and the 74 people watching this all across the internet. All right. So you know how you can adopt a child, but your mom doesn't want a child. She wants grandchildren. What if we start an adoption service for families? So she could adopt a family.
Another family.
who could in turn give her a grandchild. Oh, you get to go stay with Graham this weekend. Maybe their parents died. You know what I mean? Maybe their parents are like, terrible things happen all across the world, and they don't have any grandparents. There's no way to manufacture Graham and Graham Cramp. You've got to come up with your own Mimi and Poppies. So we could start the grandfather time, or I don't know. I'll think about it. The name sucks. I'll think about it. But
we'll workshop it. We'll continue to tweak and to tune. Brandon says, Buck down with the Thanos snap. If I could do that, if I could have one of those gloves, so many of you would be screwed. If I could just get away from people with a snap of the finger, it would make me so happy. Are you kidding me?
Do me a favor. Go ahead and snap just in case. Ah, shit.
Get out of here.
Oh, I'm done. You're kicking me out just like that just because I almost...
That's going to do it for us tonight. Speaking of children, Francis just walked into the office, which means it's dinner time at the zoo. Have a great rest of your evening. We're back at Titans training camp tomorrow. Roger McCreary will sit down with us. We'll talk to the Titans starting nickel corner about all the new faces in his room and how he's been adapting to it. I almost said adopting to it, adapting to it at this point. Bert's got adoption on my brain, adoption schemes on my brain, not actual adoption. Families are us. Look at Stephen King. He wants to get in on the marketing plan. We could take investment, Bert. In fact, Robert, I was watching this Netflix documentary series on the start of NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all the different pop bands that were started by this one guy named Lou Pearlman. It's a documentary series called Dirty Pop. And apparently this man ran a 30-year investment fraud scam, taking people's money, taking people's investments, funding bands like the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC together under the same artist agency, having them compete in real time, and then went to prison for 25 years because he just stole $500 million from people to fuel this pop band empire that he was world famous for. It's excellent stuff. So maybe I'll be Lou Pearlman. Maybe we'll do that on Families Are Us, and we'll continue to scam our way to success. Anyway, that's going to do it for us tonight. Have a great rest of your evening. Talk to you tomorrow morning from the practice field on 104.5 The Zone.
Go home! Go home! Go home! You're embarrassing Nashville! Go home!